9 minutes after 9 o'clock, free for all Friday. And if you're listening to the podcast or the rebroadcast, it's not 9 minutes after 9 o'clock, chances are. But here we are, live and in living color. And Gretchen looks colorful. Bob Snyder looks colorful. Brian looks like a newspaper editor down there. Good morning.
Colorful one, David.
I look blue.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Pierre Tristram for praising Wikipedia, because I'm completely on board with it. I think it used to be made fun of, but now I think it is actually quite accurate, just like he said. And it's incredible the amount of information, way more than you can ever get in an encyclopedia set. So.
And I sent Pierre a text saying, "Wow, we agree." Anyway, so that's good. Thanks, Pierre. Flagler Live. And yes, WNZF, we advertise on there. We advertise in the Observer. We advertise billboards and social media. Skywriting is what I want to do, but we have to wait for not a windy day.
There you go.
Anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm David Ayres, Gretchen Smith here, and Bob Snyder with the Flagler County Health Department. Of course,
glad to be here.
We've got Brian as our editor of the Palm Coast Observer, and also magically joining us from the bunker of the Florida Health Department, it is our medical director, Dr. Steve Bickle. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Hey, we kind of count on you every week to follow the science of COVID and anything else that we got to talk rabies, I guess, for a short time also today. But, that way we don't have to go digging through all the piles of medical information. So in the last week, what's caught your eye on COVID in particularly, good or bad?
Couple things. One is, we are making progress on the vaccine front in terms of getting vaccine into people. It's still slow in terms of what's ideal and what we'd like, but logistics and all that, they're not that easy to sort out. The U.S. is really only behind Israel and the U.K. in terms of percentage of the population vaccinated of large countries. And that's really an accomplishment. There's promising stuff on the horizon with that. I think the J&J vaccine will be approved. Mm-hmm. It's very effective for preventing severe disease, which is the thing we care the most about. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how people prioritize which vaccine they want. That'll be an interesting play. But, we're looking at, I think by summer, we're going to have 300 billion, 400 billion doses available. So pretty much everybody who wants to get vaccinated is going to be able to. Hopefully that'll happen. The floodgates will really start opening in March, by April for sure. So there's still bugs to be worked out, but that's really something I think are very, very positive. And also, for the U.S., because we've stumbled in other areas, but with COVID, but not in this area. The other thing is just kind of caution people. The latest, big theme is variants. And like all these themes, when they start out, there's just so much noise. And it's so hard to sort out. I mean, there's multiple variants. It turns out that they've probably been around for 6 months, but they've grown in response to sort of what they call selective pressure, where if, that if there's antibodies out there that it's one form is resistant to, then that'll start growing in preponderance to the others, and no one really knows for sure yet what's going to happen. It's the South African variant is in the lab, less responsive to antibodies, and maybe in humans, but the evidence for that's pretty sketchy. I'd say it's a probable, but in terms of being dramatically like a game-changing resistance, that's not what people are thinking. So I think, and science is really geared up to tackle the challenge of the variants in terms of modifying vaccines and doing surveillance to figure out the variants. To give you an example, I think the UK variant is present in it's a little less than 1% of the cases in Florida, so it hasn't been really the reason for the increased number of cases in the last few months. California, I think it's 0.4% was the one figure I heard yesterday. So the variants is going to be a big story for the next month. and it's probably going to take that long to get sorted out. I think it will have some effect, but I don't think it'll be drastic.
I hear
so the advice remains the same, really.
I hear that there was somewhat of a kind of a flatlining a little bit more, and they say that there should be less real big spikes and valleys and things. Is part of that due to the fact that so many, well, of course you would like to think that it's the vaccinations have a part of it, but also that so many people have had it and have the antibodies. And another question, somebody, so answer that if you would, that one first, both Bob Gretchen or Dr. Bickle. Is it because so many people have had it that there is an immunity for whether it be by vaccination or by just by having it? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I think, there are documented cases. So we've now vaccinated more people in the U.S. than there are the number of documented cases. But in terms of what is thought to be the actual number of cases, a lot of people throwing out the number 3 times that. So if you say there's 7 to 8% of the population documented with COVID, then maybe 20 to 25% probably had it. And then you throw in the 10, we're getting over 10% now with vaccinated. Some of those might overlap. But let's say we got 30% herd immunity, 30% immune. That's not herd immunity, but that does have an impact. That definitely has an impact. Because herd immunity isn't like you get to a gate and you open it and then it's this magical land where everybody's immune. It's like it's a gradual thing. The more people who are immune, the fewer people who are susceptible, the less the spread is. So it probably is having an impact, maybe even significant.
Bob Snyder.
And the numbers in reality bears out what Dr. Bickle just said. I mean, we believe that the holiday surge and spike is over. 2 weeks ago, we had 49 positive cases here in Flagler County. 2 weeks this Friday, but yesterday it was 12. So we definitely are seeing a downward trend in cases, hospitalizations, ER visits related to COVID-like symptoms. So yeah, I agree with Dr. Bickle's comments. And I want to point out and brag on us a little bit here, 36%, David, of our senior citizens, those over the age of 65, have been vaccinated already. It's total people vaccinated in our county is 15,500.
15,000?
15,500.
Wow.
And
I was telling somebody the other day that it was 10,000, and I was like, wait a minute, is that really true? Because I remember that we reported on that, and I was like, I hope we didn't get that wrong by like an order of magnitude or something. But 15,000 people, that's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. And so that includes just really 3 pods or 3 providers doing the vaccines. It's us at the health department, and it's the 4 publics in town. Who have each received about 600 each so far, and then the rest came to us. And
so you guys are still in first place.
Yeah, actually, probably the CVS and Walgreens and CDR Medical that vaccinated everyone in ALFs and skilled nursing facilities. That's a big group of the 15,500. Because they've all gotten their first doses, and they'll be getting their second doses, I think, starting next week.
So is it concerning to you to think that, everybody in ALFs is now going to get their second dose? Are you worried about, all these different people possibly getting reactions to the second dose?
We have had minimal stories of people having significant reactions to the second dose, truly. And it goes away like within 10 to 12 hours. I mean, Steve, is that your notion as well?
Yes, and this group is the least likely to have these reactions. They are most likely to happen in 20-year-olds.
Huh, okay.
Is it possible?
Yeah, so that is not much of a concern at all.
Yeah.
I talked to, we're coming up on a year around the lap because the Daytona 500 was run. I was there last year and going again this year, but I'm not worrying about parking this year. But it was almost a year ago, but I've talked to quite a few people that had a year ago, had a real nasty flu, and it just wiped them out for a couple of weeks. And this is before anybody heard of COVID. And they're wondering, is it possible that I did have it because they haven't gotten it, even being exposed into things? And there's actually quite a few people. And then also, quick comment on the flu season this year, but everybody assumed that was the flu, but it had all the symptoms of just draining you and shortness of breath and that kind of a thing. But there was nobody heard about COVID at that point. So Dr. Bickle, is it possible that people did have it at this time last year and had developed their antibodies and immunity before we even knew what it was?
Definitely, it's definitely possible. We just don't know the numbers. It didn't appear that there was much COVID around because it had to be seeded into the community from basically other countries, and that hadn't happened a whole lot. But there are some, there's speculation that this started really as early as September in 2019. So there may have been more cases out there. Even in Wuhan, they think it might have been more cases, but they were very sporadic. So definitely possible.
In the public health measures that we've taken for COVID the last year, David, definitely has had an impact everyone on the flu season this year. I saw the data just yesterday from our epidemiologist, and we have a very, very mild flu season here in our area and surrounding counties.
Yep. That's because we're all wearing masks.
Thanks to the masks.
Right. That's right.
Speaking of masks, so we're hearing more about how to double up, and what are we really supposed to be doing with masks now? Should we be wearing 2 of them?
I'm a proponent of getting everyone to wear just one mask.
Yeah.
How about we all just wear one and start there? That's what I'd like to see.
And I have to say, Brian, I loved your column in the Observer this week, your forward. I thought that was great, and thank you for that.
Great. It was just about going and seeing everybody basically being too lax with masks at a basketball game, and it just it's concerning. Although I'm glad that the cases seem to be going down somewhat. Hopefully that sustains, but
so now every time everybody's going to go, oh my God, there's McMillan, put your mask on.
No.
I hope so.
He'll start naming.
Thank you very much.
Comment on masks. I definitely in the keep it simple category.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to really go over, really get into it and do a multi-layer and N95, all that other stuff, and they want to do that, that's fine. But for the average person, it's just getting a multi-layered, in other words, not just a thin little mask, a multi-layered cloth, well-fitting mask that you wear all the time in the right settings. That's it. That gives plenty of protection.
And if it's cloth, do wash it on occasion, please.
Yes.
So I have another question about the masks. I've had interviews with a couple of school administrators recently, and their stance has been, okay, we're 6 feet apart, so we don't need to wear a mask. And I know that's what the school districts, their policy is social, wear a mask where you cannot social distance.
Correct.
And it just made me think how you have to constantly be thinking okay, now you have to remind yourself all the time, oh, now I guess I'm in a position where I can't socially distance, so I better put my mask back on. It just seems like so much simpler, just keep the mask on all the time, and much less likely that you're going to be I've been sitting with this for the last hour, and I probably should have had my mask on. That seems like that would happen a lot, but at the same time, we haven't had big outbreaks in the school, which is wonderful. So do they have it right, and is that fine?
Yeah, that is a CDC recommendation that, wear that mask if you cannot socially distance, especially if you're indoors and you're not outdoors or indoors in a well-ventilated space. That is the recommendation.
So in my column, I'm saying that people weren't wearing masks, but technically, does that even matter? Part in the stands at a basketball game for 2 hours. Should we not really care about that?
We would prefer that people wear masks, truly. But if you're, stay socially distanced, that's the key, right? The 3 things. Socially distance, if you can't, wear a mask, and avoid large crowds, especially indoors and not well-ventilated spaces. Well, we can just keep it simple like that.
And if you have a 50-foot ceiling in a gymnasium versus a 8-foot ceiling, whatever. One other quick question we're gonna move on here is I forgot what I was going to ask now, but Brian, you threw me off on that one.
Well, can I give you a little update real
yes,
quick?
please. I know what. Yeah, and
okay,
okay, so we want to get our vaccinations next week. Give us some advice on where can we go, the Walmart, the drugstores. So, a lot of people are just kind of on the sidelines letting other people do it. Now it's like, okay, I need to get in line next week. Where do we go? How do we get them?
Take it away, Gretchen.
Okay, so the way to get in line is to go to myvaccine.fl and .gov, and that's where you go and get in line. It's kind of a screening process. Do you remember the number?
So you want to write myvaccine.fl.gov, or you want to call a number specific to Flagler County residents, 866-201-1541. And this is, you'll be accessing the call center that's been set up by a company called ShareCare, brought to you by Department of Health, Department of Emergency Management primarily. And this is the statewide appointment scheduling registration system that's been set up.
And it is automated. When you call that number, you'll go through a series of prompts. It'll ask if you're over the age of 65. It'll ask if you're a healthcare worker. You'll go through the prompts, et cetera, and then you'll be able to, quote unquote, get in line for when vaccine appointments become available. And then from there, ShareCare every week we tell ShareCare how many appointments we're going to have. And then they go through and call people and invite them.
How many vaccinations do we have next week to give out?
Next week, we just found out yesterday that we'll have 1,300 to give out first doses, which is an increase over the 800
that we've received the past couple weeks.
That's right. So we're pleased about that. And remember, at the fairgrounds where we're doing the mass vaccination site clinic, I mean, we can do 1,000 a day. And so this past week, we did 400 each day, Wednesday and Thursday, yesterday. So, we have not reached our capacity yet. So we want more vaccines. We can take it. And we're 99% effective, right, Gretchen, in getting that vaccine into people's arms. So far, it's about 6,600 we've administered. And so that's a 99% shot in the arm percentage, which we are really, really proud of. We do not let those vaccines sit.
No, we don't. We don't waste any of them.
Nope.
This week, we will admit, was a tiny bit bumpy because of the switch over to ShareCare, but we're working with the company and helping them reduce some of their redundancy in calling people twice, 3 times. And, we're just really trying hard to work the kinks out to make it more streamlined for our residents. And they are focusing on that 11,300 name list that the county provided, and they are kind of chugging through that.
Okay. So. Hey, Dr. Bickle, we got to get out to Flagler Beach here at 9:30, but we've got a couple of minutes for you to wrap up your segment. Give us some good words here.
I'm just really pleased with the way the vaccination rollout is going lately. I think we're picking up steam. I mean, basically we're going to go through 3 phases. First phase is demand greatly exceeds supply, and where people are frustrated and we're struggling to get more vaccine so we can give it out. The second is where we're getting a lot and we still have a lot of people unvaccinated who want it. And so that's when things will really be rolling. And then we're going to be transitioning sometime this spring, probably late spring, to a situation where we're going to be begging people to get vaccinated. We're going to have tons of vaccine, and we're trying to reach the groups that haven't been. Some of them who don't know about it, some of them with difficulty accessing care, some just a variety of things. And you're going to see kind of the strategy shift. And I'm very pleased to report that the health department group, Bob, and his team, have a whole strategy for all 3 of these phases, because really our goal is we want to see 75 to 80% of the county vaccinated. Yes. And then we really will have our own little pocket of herd immunity, regardless of what else is going on in the state and the world.
We got our little bubble here, Flagler County. Dr. Bickle, thanks a lot. You have a great weekend.
Bye, Steve.
Take care.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We're going to go out to Flagler Beach, find out what's going on out there, and we'll be talking with the city manager, Rick McFadden, and also Flagler Beach Commissioner Ken Burns. We're going to let you know about some things that you probably don't know about. We'll be right back.
probably shouldn't be saying this, but your neighbor came in the other day, and he's got money under his mattress. That Smarter Smart Bed is the way to go. It adjusts to what you want, from rock hard to cuddly soft, and it doesn't cost a fortune. Never pay retail. Put your money under your mattress. Stop in and try the Smarter Smart Bed. The beds are smarter than we are. You know who we are. We're Bed Tops Mattress Clearance Center in Palm Coast. Call us anytime. 386-627-4188. Bed Tops Mattress Clearance Center.
Attention shoppers, our garden shop will be closing.
Excuse me, sir. You waiting to use the bathroom?
No, I'm waiting for somebody to do my taxes.
Somebody in the bathroom's doing your taxes?
No, can't you see that Jackson Huey Dewey tax sign right there?
Jackson Huey Dewey is conveniently located next to the bathroom.
Why don't you just make it easy and go to Flagler Tax Service?
Flagler Tax Service. Call 793-7156.
It's time to freshen up your home, and we can help.
New fresh colors, new fresh look.
Our Benjamin Moore Paint Store has all the new color trends.
We're your local Benjamin Moore Paint Store.
Corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
You'll get more at Benjamin Moore.
My whole business just went up in flames. But my agent was there before the fire was out. We started a plan. I've got 25 employees who could be out of a job if we didn't get this place running again. My independent agent and auto owner's insurance, they made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll. That's incredible.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there.
In Flagler County, call the Haywood Brown Flagler Insurance Agency at 437-7767.
Free for all Friday. Great looking day right now. Supposed to get a little rain. We can always use that. And Brian McMillan, if you just tuned in, editor, Palm Coast Observer, Bob Snyder, and Gretchen Smith, formerly Gretchen Chambers. Was that your maiden name?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's very ironic that I worked for a Chamber of Commerce for
So you've only
10 years.
been married once?
Yeah.
I always liked that idea that your last name was Chambers and you worked for the Chamber. you know a lot of people's made names because of Facebook. I think
exactly.
Nowadays.
Exactly. So, yeah.
All right, well, glad to have you, and we're getting a little bit smarter about things. Flagler Beach. We love Flagler Beach. Everybody does. It's really kind of the lightning rod of tourism, because if we didn't have Flagler Beach, I don't know really who would come here, but maybe that's a controversial thing. Is it, Rick?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I don't think anybody would come here if it wasn't for Flagler Beach. Of course, I might be a little prejudiced.
All right.
But I think that's the best place in the whole state of Florida.
Hey, Rick McFadden is our interim city manager at Flagler Beach. How does it feel to be interim, knowing that your days are limited, and what are you going to do?
Well, at my age, my days are limited anyway.
All right.
But I'd like to hang around here for a while yet.
Good. We want you to. So I haven't talked to you for a while, Rick. Kind of give us an overview, a little update on what's going on Flagler Beach. I know, people are, we've got another hurricane season coming. A lot of work has been done to protect A1A and our front line there. So just kind of give us an overview from the city manager's desk.
Well, we're still building like crazy. We did 4 new single-family homes last month. We've already taken 3 in for this month. A1A is in pretty good shape. We are in the process, as we speak, of putting some sand fence up to re-nourish the beach on North Atlantic. We're hard at it, making sure that our pier is in good shape. We're just moving right along, just waiting to see what's going to happen this year, what Mother Nature throws at us.
Let's talk about the pier. I know that Larry Newsom was, when he was city manager, he told me that there was plans and he was trying to get grant money to build a parallel pier to that one that would go all the way out to the original distance, which would make Flagler Beach, it would have the longest pier in Florida on the Atlantic coast. Is there anything to that?
Well, we still have something in the works with FEMA. We're just waiting for someone with FEMA to pull the trigger. It is moving along, but ever so slowly. COVID did not do us any favors.
Okay. All right. So it's still a possibility. And so the plan, basically, if you can describe it a little bit, would be that the existing pier would still be an existing fishing pier, and then the other pier would be it would be concrete and everything. What's the plan?
That's what we're looking for. We're trying to get a concrete pier, much less maintenance, much more stable. That's really the way we'd like to go. Okay.
Let's talk. I know Palm Coast is talking about possibly to save money going to 1 day a week of trash. And Brian, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this too. Where
that's about as much as I know too. That it's a possibility. They're looking for citizen feedback right now and figuring out, because a lot of the recycling no longer has any buyers. You put your recycling in, where does it go now? China doesn't want our stuff anymore. Their policy is called One Sword to stop buying so much, which is a little, confrontational. But anyway, it's causing this ripple effect down to the our actual trash, collection and how much we have to pay to keep it off our driveways.
I heard that that the recycling now basically goes to the same place that it goes to the dump anyway, and it isn't really separated and recycled and redone what people want, but it's not nice to say that because, like Brian said, China's no longer buying our trash.
I don't know if I would go so far that it's all goes to the dump, but I think that they're having a harder time using selling all of it to reuse. So I think it's not all.
A lot of it.
I like to think it's still mostly a good idea to recycle.
Yeah, I mean, you would want to think that. So, Rick, what's the truth here? You got nothing to lose. Your time is limited.
What we are trying to do right now is we're going to go to 1 day on recycling. We're going to ask that the only two things that we're going to recycle is cardboard and aluminum. Unfortunately, there's no place to take anything else. What we've run into with our recycling on plastics is, like our businesses, the bartenders, instead of emptying the plastic cups and rinsing them, they fill it with whatever's left over in that cup into the recycle bin. It's destroyed the recycling, so it has to go to the trash.
Wow.
Everything right now, with the exception of aluminum and cardboard, we're going to funnel out to the dump, and the aluminum cardboard we will recycle.
And no glass.
No glass.
Yeah, Ormond Beach has been, we covered this in the Ormond Beach Observer a year or two ago, that they've also had a lot of, back and forth, there's no market for the glass anymore, trying to see if the residents want to pay more and still have it, shipped out somewhere special or, but it seems such a shame.
It does.
Such a shame.
Well, and actually, and I've heard too that it also cost a lot more to put it into the recycle bin where it's going to end up to the dump anyway. Except just like you guys, I hate hearing that because we've all been trained to be good citizens and the environment and all that kind of stuff.
My husband gets mad at me if I put something glass in the garbage can.
I get mad at everybody. I will say though that I will not be too sad to not wash out peanut butter jars anymore.
You're kidding me. You do that?
I do.
Jeez.
Sometimes. Every now and then I feel guilty. I throw it away, but
you just need a dog with a long tongue. Hey, let's talk. Here's Rick McFadden. We're being rude to him. Here he is, just trying to be part of this thing from his desk. But what about how's Flagler Beach doing on money and budget and tax money and COVID, and how has it affected the budget on Flagler Beach?
Well, unfortunately, it's hit us pretty hard. Our budget is extremely tight. Count your paper clips. We're doing the best we can with what we have, and our commissioners have been good working with us. If we need to shift a little funds here and there, they're working with us on it. I'm so happy with that.
I know your water treatment plant which we call the sewer plant, which is not the politically correct thing to say, it got bumped from about $900,000 the state was going to give for a much needed upgrade to it. Where's that at?
We're still working with that. The wastewater plant, yes, we're in the middle of a redesign on the wastewater treatment plant, and we did get the grant. It's somewhere just under $900,000, but we're still there. We're hanging in.
Okay. Hey, have you ever thought of the city making up for those counted paper clips by selling tomatoes?
Not a bad idea.
If you don't know what I'm talking, if you go out to the sewer plant in Flagler Beach, they have these things called dry beds, and these beautiful tomato plants grow.
How organized.
So if you follow the seed from the farm to the grocery store to you eating them to going down the Tweety and ending up at the sewer plant, they bloom into beautiful. Seriously, yeah. And they're good to eat, right, Rick?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Good example of everything going full circle there.
It is, yeah.
Is that why there's a farmer's market there?
You talk about you talk about recycling. That is probably the ultimate, but anyway. All right, so give us some other news items here, Rick, from Flagler Beach. What's going on?
Well, we're with the weather breaking. The weather is beautiful as it is. Our beaches will probably be full, not this weekend with the rain, but it looks pretty good for next weekend. Our lifeguards are chomping at the bit, waiting to get back out on the beach. We're in pretty good shape for the shape we're in.
What's the progress on the new hotel right there at Veterans Park? What's the latest on that?
I'm excited about it. I haven't heard anything back from the developer, from anybody, really. I honestly don't know where we're at on that. I've made a commitment. I was hoping to retire at the end of this year. If that takes off, I want to hang around. I want to see it come out of the ground.
And one other thing, where are we at on finding a replacement for a new city manager?
This coming Wednesday, there is going to be a public interview. The public needs to submit their questions to Penny, our city clerk, and she will put something together for our commissioners. There will be a public interview. The last two candidates, Mr. Whitson and Mr. Driscoll, will be there. And I believe it will be on YouTube, or we will have it for YouTube, but they are doing an interview Wednesday.
Okay. Hey, has the public meetings not been on YouTube lately? I heard there was technical problems.
We have been having, as a matter of fact, that was brought up at the meeting last night. We have been having some issues with our system. We're hoping to get someone in here in the next week or two and get this thing back up to speed.
Okay. Is there? I thought it was a Florida law, Brian, that if you're going to have a city council meeting or county commission meeting, there has to be, if it's not being broadcast, there has to be media present. Is that still a law?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
There have been glitches with all the governments here locally. Sometimes there'll be a technical issue, and there's difficulty pushing it out. So I'm not sure exactly. I mean, for a long time there was no public recording, but they make the minutes available at the following meeting, so you can still kind of have a record of it. But that's a good question.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, if it's not working, call Brian. Okay. Anyway, Rick, hey.
Turn it off, turn it back on again. That's what I do.
Yeah, really.
Rick McFadden, who is the interim city manager of Flagler Beach. Good to have you with us. We always appreciate the update. Anything we can do for you, let us know, okay?
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back and talk with Do I say the best dressed man in Flagler County, Alvin Jackson, who is the city manager of Bunnell. And we'll talk about water supplies and that kind of thing when we return. In the studio, Gretchen Smith, host of Flagler Health Matters, 11:30 to 12, right here on WNZF. Bob Snyder and Brian McMillan. We'll be back.
I probably shouldn't be saying this, but your neighbor came in the other day, and he's got money under his mattress. That Smarter Smart Bed is the way to go. It adjusts to what you want, from rock hard to cuddly soft, and it doesn't cost a fortune. Never pay retail. Put your money under your mattress. Stop in and try the Smarter Smart Bed. The beds are smarter than we are. You know who we are. We're Bed Tops Mattress Clearance Center in Palm Coast. Call us anytime. 386-627-4188. Bed Tops Mattress Clearance Center.
You don't think it'll happen to you twice. First, it was a fire. My agent was right there and helped me rebuild. Then the tornado destroyed everything again. Both times, my independent agent and auto owners took care of me like someone takes care of family.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there. Auto Owners Insurance.
In Flagler County, call the Haywood Brown Flagler Insurance Agency at 437-7767.
9:45 Free for All Friday. And coming up this week on Real Estate Matters, Toby Tobin is going to do a special series on short-term vacation rentals. Yes, it's back up on the agendas in Tallahassee. And it has an effect on you and your neighborhood, and it was controversial, thought it kind of died down, and now here it is again. So basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if your neighbor right next to you wants to rent out their house to anybody for a week, a weekend even, should they be able to do it? And you got a big party going on over there, or you don't know what the situation. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, and it's rented all the time, you got different people coming and going. So there's two sides to it, and Toby's going to take a look at that. And
I think the big question that keeps coming up is, should the local governments be in charge of those regulations, or should it be a state thing? So that's really where a lot of the fight comes down to. I think they're not really trying to eliminate it, but
and when you're building
sure
these
safe?
10-bedroom houses with 12 bathrooms.
Well, but then,
what does that encourage?
Yeah, but at the same time,
sometimes you got to go.
If the law says,
or you have a big family like you, Brian.
Yeah, there's no waiting. But if in fact the law says you can do it, and you buy a nice big piece of land on the ocean and build a 10-bedroom home for the purpose of investment and renting it out, and then they change the law on you where you can't. I mean, isn't there? So you can see where it gets pretty dicey.
Yeah, well, I can say that I'll never be in that position to be able to build a 10-bedroom house.
You would be one renting it for the weekend.
Come on, Bob, give her a raise.
Well, since we don't have any of the answers, that's why we have Alvin Jackson with us today. Morning, Alvin.
Great morning. Great morning.
Hey, Alvin.
It is. Alvin, you should have your own radio show. You just just radiate positive enthusiasm. And as our city manager of Bunnell, just wanted to welcome you to Free for All Friday.
Thank you. Happy to be here, and happy to be with your very important guest today.
Hey, one of the things I was going to ask Rick McFadden on, but you saw in Oldsmar, somebody hacked in, water supply, that kind of thing. You wouldn't even really think in a smaller city, because what Oldsmar is a small suburb of Tampa. But, there's wacky people that sit at their computer and have nothing better to do than to mess things up. And they said that it was like an old Windows 7 or something program they had, because they're thinking, who's going to mess with us? But as city manager, Alvin, you got to start thinking of those kind of things, right?
Yeah, you do. But thank goodness that here in the city of Bunnell, basically when our system is not managed through the internet or Wi-Fi, it's basically internal. So we don't have to worry about, thank goodness. And then you have your we have our protective measures as it relates to the physical location of the plant. So
Is how many people does the Bunnell water plant serve?
The population?
Yeah, I mean, who does it serve? Yeah,
about 8,000.
Okay, all right, and it goes out. Well, a lot of people in West County. And by the way, is Bunnell still the second largest city in Florida?
Of course, we are the second largest city in Florida in land mass, over 89,000 acres next to Duval County.
See, a lot of people don't know that.
So we have a lot of great opportunities here in the city of Bunnell, and that's why we're really trying to position ourselves to be able to accommodate economic growth as well as residential growth. And I think last time I was on, I kind of shared with you that the City of Bunnell City Commission basically adopted a master utility plan, which is just a yeoman's job for a small city. But what it has done is help us identify over $46 million worth of projects that need to occur over the next 10 years to bring our infrastructure, to bring our utility system up so that we can be competitive in the marketplace. One of the things that came out of that study, which is most pressing, is we need to expand and build a new sewer plant, which is about $10 million of the $46 million. And so we are pressing forward. We're trying to identify funding. We've gotten some semi-good news. SRF fund through the state of Florida basically has awarded us a $1 million loan grant with 80% forgiveness to actually engineer that water plant. So we're doing those kinds of things. The St. John's Water Management District has been very gracious in providing us grants to address some of the issues like lining up pipes and retrofitting stormwater facilities. On good news, some better good news is the City Commission in trying to be proactive. Adopted the Business Incentive Program, and basically we awarded two incentives, one to Vineyard Herbs, which is a $20 million capital investment project, which will create about 100 new jobs, and also a small manufacturer, Premier Food Truck, which will spend about $700,000. So we're getting some good economic activity. I'm in the process of talking to 2 or 3 logistics companies that's looking at Bunnell as well as multifamily housing.
Alvin,
go
ahead.
Just want to inform you that we did reinstitute our impact fees. The board adopted impact fees for transportation, law enforcement, and parks and recs. And so we're keeping busy.
Looking ahead, when you first came here, I know you were a big advocate of rail, and with economic development, Bunnell has got land, it's got rail, it's got all these different kinds of things, and you were on a state committee for rail in Florida, right?
Yeah, yes, I was on the Southern Rail Commission where we were actually looking at reinstituting and expanding rail from Orlando to New Orleans.
So, is there a demand? I mean, what I'm saying is, for warehousing and distribution and all those kind of things, pretty much clean industry. Wouldn't Bunnell be on people's targets to possibly put something here like that, or is that not the case?
That is the case. Actually, as I shared earlier, I have 2 logistics companies, one from New Jersey and one from Connecticut, that's talking to us about putting their distribution centers here, and it's because of the transportation center. Basically, our easy access to 95, and also close proximity to the port in Jacksonville. So as the logistics and distribution grow, I think eventually there will be a greater need to recommission the two spurs that rail spurs that exist here in Bunnell. I've had one company that actually has looked at the industrial park, Steel Rail Industrial Park, which is right on one of those spurs. So, yes, I think eventually the rail will become a very important part of our economic development activity.
What about, I see Sunrail. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to go to Bunnell, get on a train, and go to Orlando, the airport, Tampa? Is that just a dream, or is there any possibility of Bunnell having a Sunrail, a passenger?
Well, 20 years ago, Sunrail and the fast train from Miami to Orlando was a dream, which now has become a reality. And the next leg of that is from Orlando to Jacksonville. And I see that it will become a reality very shortly. So we, once again, are positioned extremely well, with some of the regional activity that's occurring. I think with our land space, it puts us in a great position for residential, commercial, and industrial. We just need to, we're in the process of, from an infrastructure standpoint, be prepared to receive the opportunities as they come our way.
All right.
Grand Reserve is continuing to grow. We have over 240 homes there that's been CO'd. So that's really been a real plus for the tax base. From the law enforcement standpoint, just want to tell you we hired a new detective, and which is really helping Chief Tom Foster and his team with closing investigations. The city commission commissioned an additional officer to patrol our community. So great things are happening, and we're trying to tell our story. So the city commission annually has an advance, and basically where they look at their strategic priorities and where we go to the next year, and that's going to be held this year, February 26th at 8 a.m. at the Dinks Connors Sanctuary. I am doing a workshop called How to Do Business with Government. It will be on Zoom February 16th at 9 a.m., and you just have to go to our website and register. And also, we are about to embark on what I call Citizens Academy with my directors, just kind of sharing with the community basically how we provide those services to the community.
All right,
exciting times in Bunnell.
It is, Alvin. Hey, we're way out of time. We got to run. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll have all this information on the news next week on all four Flagler Broadcast radio stations. All right?
All right, thank you, and have a great day.
You too, Alvin.
All right, okay.
All right.
Love in Bunnell, Flagler County. We got to wrap it up, way behind time. Brian, final words?
I think it's what Alvin Jackson just said. It's really kind of a reminder to me. I kept thinking, this is what the government really is all about. It's like replacing these projects, the public works stuff. It's the things that aren't really, it's not all about conflict in politics. Kudos to Alan Jackson and Bunnell for just getting work done.
Great. Very good. All right. Final words, Gretchen.
Hang in there, stay safe, be patient. Vaccines are coming. We're getting more and more every week. So hopefully you'll be able to get yours soon.
And your guest tomorrow or on Saturday?
Tomorrow we talk about a new program for our women who've just had babies. We have breastfeeding classes and support groups. And in addition to that, we're going to have folks from Ocean Bliss Spa talking about what women really want for Valentine's Day.
Oh, boy. Okay.
They don't want you going to Walgreens.
Well, I'm taking my wife to the Daytona 500. I hope she appreciates it.
Oh, well.
All right.
You should probably listen to this.
Bob Snyder, final words.
Was it Nina's idea or yours? That's what I want to know.
Well, actually, Advent Hospital said, hey, David, we appreciate what you do, and we've got some tickets, and so I'm going to have her.
Good thing she doesn't listen to Free for All Friday.
What a surprise.
Good thing.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and great show, David. Thank you so much.
Great having you guys. Okay, you can podcast this and all the other ones on the Flagler Radio mobile app. Have a good weekend. Be safe.
I woke up this morning.